Hey guys, Dave coming at you with another edition of Off Grid. Not a super sexy topic to talk about today. However, I'm really excited to bring it to you today. And we're talking about hiking pants. Not just any hiking pants, probably a pair that you may not have ever heard of before. I definitely didn't. But to get the disclaimer out of the way right away, this company reached out to me. They provided me with a couple of pairs to test out for free. No obligations, no strings attached. I wasn't on the hook for a video review or anything like that. Was really impressed with the company in that they weren't pressuring me for it at all. And that right away, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do it if you're going to approach us content creators. However, super excited to bring to you today the Nebu hiking pants. I'm going to be going through, and this is going to be a first look. I have tested these out in the field, and I have worn them out and about around town. So I feel confident enough in order to bring a first look to you today. However, I definitely need to do more field research for you guys to give a more comprehensive review. So definitely just a first look. Going to be going through all the normal, usual good stuff for you. The fabrics that are used, the weight, all the other specs on it, the normal MSRP, my pros and cons, as well as why I decided to pick these up, and should you pick these up as well. So let's just dive right into all the good stuff today. Let me show you real quick what they look like. Got a pair right here. I got a couple of different colors, and this is just one of them right here. So I'll be bringing this back up throughout the video here and in the B-roll to show you different stuff here. Let's just hop on over to the website real quick because it's kind of simple. This is a startup company. They're really small. Forget where they're based out of. I think it's Utah, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll throw it up on screen. However, they're trying really hard to get this product out there. They only really have a couple of different versions right now. I'm not sure if it's a gender bias or what, but they only have a couple of different versions of men's hiking pants, so they definitely need to get the ladies covered as well here pretty soon, and hopefully that'll come out soon. And the only two that they have right now, they're calling one version the Rob Roy, and the other one is the B52. I ended up getting a couple of the B52s because they're a little bit lighter in overall weight. The Rob Roy is a little bit more durable, I would imagine, because they're a little bit more heavyweight in the overall fabrics and the materials that they use. They have 4 different colors for that Rob Roy and only 2 colors for the B52. We'll get into that in a hot second here. However, both of them are the same price. They're all $89. If you go to their site, when I'm recording this, they have 20% off. I'm thinking about potentially becoming an affiliate in the near future because I like them so much, but you're able to get pretty decent deals already. All right, let's get into some of the specs on these guys here, and I'm gonna only speak to, actually, let's go over the Rob Roy real quick. I have all the specs for the B52 loaded and ready to go, but let's just pull up some for the Rob Roy for you. These guys on average weigh around 13 ounces. The fabric is 90% nylon and 10% spandex. They got a 4-way stretch, lightweight, quick drying, moisture wicking, breathable, and a thermoregulation, which I guess means it's better at regulating that heat temperature. And that's pretty much it for that one. It looks pretty similar in the overall build. I'm not sure if there are any different pockets, but let's just jump into the B52s. For the fabric on this one, it's 100% polyester, so there isn't any of that spandex, I guess, in there. The overall weight on these is 9.3 ounces for my size, and I ordered a size 34-inch waist by 32-inch inseam. And then the MSRP for, like I mentioned, I think already for all of them is $89. This has free shipping included for every single purchase, whether you order one pair or a bunch. And then again, for the B52s, the fabric features, again, 2-way stretch. It's extremely lightweight. They say that it's ultra fast drying, but I'll get back to that in a second. Moisture wicking, and it has breathable performance. I'll definitely say that it does breathe. I'm not sure if it's the most breathable material that I've seen, but just in looking at the material too here, if you're like kind of holding it up in the sun, it's definitely more of like a mesh style, but you can't see through it. It's just they have really fine pinprick holes, it seems like, all throughout, to increase that overall breathability. A couple other things here before we get into the pros and cons. First of which is they recommend that you go up a size for your waist size. So I'm normally around a size 32, 33 inch waist, but in speaking with their sales rep, they had mentioned definitely go up in size. So I ended up going with the 34 inch waist. And then the 32 is a little bit longer, but I usually do that for either like hiking boots or your trail runners anyway, to get a little bit extra coverage in your overall length. So that fits me pretty well. The next thing that I'll mention here is that it is a little bit more of a taper fit. So if you're a plus size hiker, then this might not fit you quite as well. I also know at least one other hiker that has bigger legs, and it doesn't really fit them particularly well either. I have a little bit above average calf size, but it was able to fit me okay. I did notice that it does cut in a little bit on the thighs, particularly when you go to sit down. So if you're more of an athletic build or definitely a slender build, then these should be okay for you. All right, let's jump into the pros and cons for you. For the pros first, I really like that it has a side pocket that fits a phone pretty easily. So here to model it for you, they got a side pocket. They have the general like just forward facing pocket here, but they got a couple of different side pockets. They have one way up top up here that fits a like a small pocket knife pretty well. And then they have this main side pocket here, which fits a pretty large phone. I have the Pixel 8. Let me pull it out and show you here. You got a Pixel 8, and it's got a case on it, and it just eats it up, no problem. I've got at least another like inch or two of space over the top, and I actually hiked in these in Joshua Tree with my phone in my pocket the entire time and didn't really notice it that much, so that was pretty good. For the next pro here, they have an integrated belt. That's the next thing I really want to mention and highlight for this one here. So they got an integrated belt right into it, so that's perfect. It's one less thing that you have to remember when you're out in the field, and it works pretty well as well. It's not as fine-tuned or micro-adjusted, but they have about 5 different loop features on here with like different sewn-in pieces that you can make your micro adjustments for. So in particular, when you're sizing up, you're probably going to have to go a little bit tighter on this loop, but it works pretty well. And it doesn't really cut into you that much or bunch up. I was afraid it was going to do that and kind of fit awkwardly, but I think it ended up fitting me pretty well, and it stays in there and it doesn't really go anywhere. So I think that works pretty awesome. The next thing is that it has decent breathability for the pants. Again, I don't think it's the most light and airy pair of pants that you can get, but I mean, I can see, I can almost see the camera like through these things. So it definitely has decent breathability, but I think it's also because it's like 100%, polyester, that it's probably not going to be the most breathable, but it definitely does a pretty decent job. The next pair that I have is that the material is more cotton feeling. So these are I gotta say right off the bat, the most comfortable pair of pants that I've worn out for hiking. Like as far as like hiking specific pants, these have been the most comfortable. It definitely feels the most like cotton against your skin compared to, some of the more synthetic feeling pants out there. If you've worn a bunch of different hiking pants, you know what I'm talking about. And it doesn't have that same sound. So I'm like rustling this one right now, and it sounds more like regular pants, like those synthetic style pants. And again, this is, if you know, right? It has more of that like swishy sound, like when you're walking. This doesn't do that. They're very quiet when you're out on trail. The next pair that I have is that they on their website, I can't personally attest to this because I haven't used it yet, but they have a lifetime guarantee on their site that they mention. They also have a 30-day return policy. If you don't like it, you can just end up returning it. So that's pretty awesome as well. All right, that's mostly it for the pros. I'm going to get into the cons right away before wrapping this one up. First con that I have is that the zip on the side pocket conflicts with the other pocket. And let me kind of bring this back up here to tell you what I'm talking about. So in the side pocket, again, that kind of has the top-down feeding function. They also include this zipper pocket off to the side. Now, this is not directly connected to that top load pocket, but it overlaps it. So there's a little bit of mesh in between that kind of, acts as a divider between the two. But unless you're putting, if you're putting something in each one of these pockets, unless it's like a thin piece of paper or something like that, then it's going to be very difficult and kind of feel bulky and a little weird to have both of those kind of coinciding. So I thought that was a little bit weird. The next con that I have kind of going along with that one is that like 90% of the pockets are on the right side here. So they only have one back pocket right here, which also has a zipper on it. That's on the right side. And then those two, I guess 3 side pockets are on the right side. And that front pocket is also on the right side. And then they only have one pocket on the left side. So if you're loading this thing up, which you shouldn't necessarily, maybe just around town, but if you have like your wallet, your phone, your keys and everything, and you're kind of just walking around with this, then it definitely feels lopsided, like everything's kind of hanging off to that right side compared to the left. So they could have abated that, maybe put one of the side pockets on the other side, or put this back pocket. I like to put my wallet on the left side, but primarily if there's only one, I've seen that they only usually put it on the right side. But just kind of like load balancing those pockets a little bit better. They could have done in these pants. The next con that I have is that, again, I kind of spoke to this briefly a little bit earlier, but it is a little bit tighter on my thighs. Again, I have a little bit above average leg size, I would say, for somebody of my build. I'm like 5'8", but my legs are a little bit thicker, I guess you'd say. So, and I only really notice this when I go to sit down. So if you have really large calves or thighs, then this, again, is more of an athletic cut and taper, so it might end up cutting into you a little bit more. And the only way that I notice that is when I go to sit down. So I like to bring a camping chair, and when I go to sit down, the knees are a little bit higher than your hips, and I notice that the pants get a little bit tight in your thighs and upper thighs when you go to sit down. But that's more of a minor thing for me. And the last con that I have is that I think the price point is just a tad bit too high. I don't really want to spend any more than like 50, 60 bucks for a pair of hiking pants, and you can definitely find deals that are at that price point or under that. So I don't think that the price point is higher than most. I think it is probably pretty close to on par, if not maybe just a little bit higher. But 89 bucks does seem to be a little bit high, but I have seen a bunch of different deals that you can get on these as well, and comboing that up with free shipping too makes a little bit more sense there, but it's just a tad high in my opinion. And then the last category that I have right here is kind of like unanswered questions, right? And this is mostly dealing with just experience and getting out in the field and using these. But the first kind of unanswered question or gray area would be the breathability on hot days. So I've only really kind of worn these, again, around town and on one trip to Joshua Tree, but that was in like colder or more fair weather. I'm also in a drier environment here, so I don't really get a ton of humidity in general, but I have yet to really test these on like super hot days to see how that breathability, but also that moisture wicking claim that they have on these pants, just to see how well that does. So I'm gonna have to check back with you guys on that one just to give you a more of a well-rounded review in that area. So that's it. It's just going to be those two areas, the breathability and then how well does it deal with that moisture, as far as like how quickly does it dry, right? But that's going to do it on a very quick look on the Nebu hiking pants, in particular the B52s. So far I'm massively impressed with these pants. They are the most comfortable pants that I've worn, and not only that, but they are very comparable to the other favorite of mine, which has been the Mountain Hardwear Basin Trek pants, but those definitely have more of that synthetic feel to them. They're pretty much right there in like the similar weight class, but the added benefit here is in that integrated belt that they have here. Very innovative and a very cool feature, and again, something that you don't have to remember. I don't have to remember to bring an additional belt, and it also stays out of the way too, so it's not really messing with your hip belt on your pack when you're wearing it in the field and kind of bobbing up and down on trail. Again, massively impressed with this pair of pants. I'm looking forward to seeing what other kind of products that they're going to be releasing in the near future. Again, I am really considering being affiliate with these guys, so if I do in the future, I might come back to this video and kind of like amend that in the description, but I am not as of today. Just a really big fan of them. And yeah, that's gonna do it. If you have any experience with these pants, or if you're intrigued and maybe you're thinking about picking up a pair, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you headed off grid, make sure you do your research and you make it a safe one, and I'll catch you on the next one.